So okay, before we move on to the next film, do you have anything else to add to that debate?
No, I think we both were able to discuss it very professionally,
Yeah.
so that I
Stand
wouldn't
by.
have to use this, but I'm gonna stand by and you know, be proud and
Give me a name. Give me a name. Give me a name.
what do you want me
I love math. I got one right here.
to Yeah. All I have to say is just watch Unfriended. And if you didn't like it, maybe you'll find Searching more appealing,
That's one I gotta watch. That's one I definitely gotta watch.
which was also really crazy as well.
I will watch it on my computer.
Yes. And I think you'll enjoy it more. I think the
Yeah.
story has I think the story allows you to invest with the characters a bit more.
Hmm.
And also the twist sent chills down my spine for sure.
It's time. It's time. All right. The next film we're talking about is a Thai film, which you recommended. Uh,
Ooh.
it is called Shudder.
Ooh.
And Shudder
I love
actually,
Shudder.
it's been remade since. There's in a remake in 2008 in the U.S. called. Yeah, I think it was called Shudder in
Yeah, it
2008.
was. Yeah.
There's one in Tamil called Si Yui, I believe,
Mhm.
and there's Click in Hindi.
Mm.
So this just shows you how much this concept has really stuck with people. This
Yes.
story. Since you're the one who wanted to include it into our set list, tell the people what Shudder is about and why you are so excited to talk about it.
Yeah, Shudder to me is the epitome of a ghost story. To me, it is one of the most prominent Thai films to come out of Thailand. I remember when I first saw it, I just thought it was unforgettable. It's essentially about a young photographer and his girlfriend. They start to notice mysterious dark figures in their photos. And they're just continuously throughout the movie haunted by this just
This figure.
evil presence.
Yeah.
And it is so freaking spooky, man. I mean, who doesn't look at their photos and think sometimes, do you guys see that? Or like, what is that in the background? You know, like I think we've all had that experience before. And so
Well, for a
honestly,
photographer, it's a professional photographer. That's just normal because he was dealing with film,
Yeah,
and when you
exactly.
develop photos, sometimes if you don't shutter it correctly, if you don't, take care of your lighting situation well, you'll get those weird effects, which is a pretty brilliant part of it.
Exactly. I really love that as well. I love the use of the camera as well to move the story forward. I think it's really cool. And also, I mean, essentially the idea of a photograph is it captures a glimpse of our past, right? And so essentially what this movie does so beautifully is that it encourages the audience that our past is kind of inescapable in a way. You can either learn from your past or run from your past. And what these characters do is run from their past, especially when you understand why they're hiding it. So the past comes back to haunt them, literally, through these photos. It is so great. It is such a great twist. And it all happens after a tragic accident at the very beginning of the film. I won't spoil or reveal what occurs in the movie because I do think it is one of the most magnificent twists in a horror movie. So definitely check it out. It is so creepy, and I just love the way that they just handled every aspect of this horror movie.
Mhm.
It is fantastic, and there's actually one scene in the movie that has always just bothered me. I was so upset with it, but it was just
Is
so
it a
ingenious.
flashback?
No, it's the scene where he's in the bathroom and he thinks he's talking to his girlfriend.
Oh.
And then the girlfriend arrives at the front of the door and you realize that whatever the hell he was talking to was not his girlfriend. And it is just so creepy, bro. It is so creepy, so good, unforgettable the entire time.
I'm really glad that I watched this and that this was recommended because, for one thing, it just proves that horror has so many different layers to it, and
Yes.
it's like as pure as cinema can get. Because I think every country and every type of filmmaker wants to approach horror in their own way.
Absolutely.
You know, they all have their
Absolutely.
own view on horrific stories and imagery, so they want to. I mean, how you don't get more cinema than that. Okay.
Yeah, you
Uh,
don't. If you're a storyteller and you're able to scare somebody, if you're able to engage somebody to a point where it actually affects them in real life, you're a gifted storyteller. So I really do feel horror at its very root is synonymous to visual language that cinema offers.
yeah. One thing that this movie is about is the literal weight of guilt.
Mm,
I mean, you
mm.
learn that very literally at the very end.
You learned
It's,
that. You learned that real good. You
yeah.
learned that real good. You're gonna get neck pain, not from just watching the movie, but you'll learn it real good.
And actually, when you brought up the photography aspect, that's really great because it's about, you know, how your regrets are inescapable at points. You know, we all deal with regret, and you know,
Yes,
in our
yes.
mind, our mind let alone, sometimes it just flashes these moments that you really wish you didn't do,
Yeah,
and you just feel really terrible. Now we're talking about pictures where these moments are actually captured. You know,
yeah.
they're literally haunting you, and it's a really effective part of the film.
Yeah, it's another great film that not only is effective thematically, but it also offers a message that is very similar to Unfriended. When you have the ability to prevent horrors from happening, like
Yeah,
sexual assault, you need to be able to don't look the other way.
yeah,
Stop it from happening. You know, otherwise you'll never be able to live with yourself. Uh, if something horrific does occur because
mhm,
of your inaction to prevent it.
yeah.
I love that. I love that. That to me is cinema. That to me is cinema.
In my notes, it says gets really damn dark and disturbing.
It does, man.
Yeah,
It does. Especially when you think of what he
yeah,
does in his past, what he does with this beautiful art form of taking pictures, and how grotesque it transforms when you think about what he does to
yeah,
this to this to you know.
yeah,
I don't want to reveal
yeah.
anything
Don't
because
say anything.
I really do think it's a movie that everybody should watch, man. It's so freaking good. You know, the best kind of horror movies are ones that, yeah, they do interest you in the story, but also you're able to hold on to your loved ones and, you know, also like jump up at the same time. Like it is so creepy, especially,
I gotta take a shower, you know, after
yeah,
watching this shit.
yeah, man. Especially like the photos, like looking at the photos itself, like it's like, ooh, like it's just, it's creepy.
Yeah. I actually, my copy did not have subtitles in it. So
Mm,
I was only, like a lot, my experience watching Lion for the first part of it, I was only relying on the imagery, the performances, and I still got what was going on. And by the end, it just became more disturbing that way. Honestly, try watching this movie without subtitles, and really just you're more of a witness to what's going on, you know, especially since it's a foreign film
mm,
and they have their own culture in Thailand, that's very different than ours, and similar to ours in many ways. um, it just makes you feel more of an outsider while watching the movie, and I feel like that's the best way to see it, you know,
mm,
because
yeah,
I mean, good God, it got really disturbing by the end,
yeah.
you
It
know.
is really disturbing.
um, I don't have many notes on this, but my movie question, which I think will become a better discussion, a bigger discussion, not a better one because it's all good shit. Are foreign horror films more generally disturbed than the mainstream? Why or why not?
I I I think it's pretty even actually.
Mhm.
I think there's some in the mainstream that are just as effective as foreign films. I think a great storyteller is a great storyteller, and those who are able to craft horror movies that really impact people, I think they're able to accomplish it whether they're from a foreign country or not. I think
Yeah,
I think when it comes to remakes of foreign films, of horror foreign films, they lose a lot of what the
like what's that?
original presents. You know what I mean? I feel like
Yeah,
I think there's just more of an awareness um, of what the art is able to do. When it comes to remakes, I do feel like it is more about the product and the commercial aspect of the movie.
yeah.
let me give you an example. Wreck. Wreck is
Oh, Wreck, dude. Oh my
Wreck.
God. Yes,
Wreck is
please.
Wreck is in my top 10 horror movies of all time.
It has to be.
And it's because they just knew exactly what the hell they were doing.
Yeah.
They took a story and were like, we're going to freak the hell people out with this, and we're also going to give a good message as well about not being able to trust the government and how, you know, the government isn't always on our side, and to be careful of that, to be cautious, and also to look out for one another. When they made Quarantine, I mean, I really dislike it when they do shot for shot remakes.
Within a year of each
I
other.
mean, within a
Also.
year of each other. I mean,
Yeah.
look at what happened with Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. I mean, come on. That's that
Vince
was
Vaughn.
that was blasphemy, bro. Like, come on. So
Wait, was
when
that
they,
Vince Vaughn?
yeah, it was.
Oh,
So when they do remakes of like foreign films that are perfect, the product usually doesn't turn out as well because I feel like it's more about um, capitalizing on the marketability of a really good story and just
yeah.
presenting it to Western audiences that, hey, here's a horror movie, check it out. You're probably gonna like it. We want your money. That's usually where I think the priority is for remakes of such great content.
Yeah.
Which is why I think foreign horror movies are actually something to aspire to make in terms of quality, because they really care about the artistry behind what makes audiences scared and how we can better ourselves when revealing our true horrors.
What some of my favorite horror films are from other countries. Like The Host is definitely in my top 10
Mhm.
by Bong Joon-ho, I believe his name is.
Yep.
The director of Parasite and Snowpiercer.
Mm.
I think that they, for me, they are genuinely more disturbed. Maybe it is because it comes from a different place that isn't as like what you just said about the mainstream element
Right.
of how they will actually remake something for cynical reasons.
Yeah.
Like with, for example, The Grudge, right?
Right. Right.
You
Right.
know, and even they got the director of The Grudge, the original Ju-on The Grudge, to come in and direct it, but it's just not as good. And it
Right.
does
Right.
feel like it's a cynical reason. And it's another reason why so many people have this criticism of Hollywood. You're out of ideas, right?
Right.
You're taking from the people who are being more creative and taking more risks and aren't as worried about offending the mainstream audience, you know?
Right.
And that's why I think that a lot of the times they're more disturbing, is because they are actually trying to say something,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
like
They
The
are
Host.
trying to say something.
Yeah.
I mean, the main problem with the horror genre is that a lot of them, since they are low budget,
Yeah.
less care is kind of put into them.
A lot of trashy type of horror films also come out.
That's why a significant amount of them are kind of awful, right? And there's such a negative stigma towards the genre. You know, that's why the
Yeah.
Academy Awards never
Yeah.
they never give horror movies a break, especially the brilliant ones. So you have that side where they're just making horror films because they're easy to make and they make a lot of money, and we just want to get people in seats and, you know, get word of mouth out to say like, oh, it's scary, come
Right.
watch it, get money, rather than say, whoa, this is actually quality and stuff. And then you have production companies like Blumhouse, which I think are beautifully handling horror projects, where not only do they recognize what their audiences want to see, but they also fulfill the vision of artists who actually have something to say, like
Yeah.
James Wan. And then you have the foreign horror films. Then you have the auteurs like Ari Aster and
Yeah.
Jordan Peele, who prioritize the art and the gift that horror offers to auteurs, to be able to make a true statement and be able to, you know, maximize what this genre can do.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy, man. I don't want. And it's not like original ideas are not coming out in this genre because of
Mhm.
those guys you just listed: Jordan Peele, Ari Aster,
Yeah.
Sam Raimi is still kicking
Oh, yeah.
around. You know,
Absolutely. Karen Kusama.
yeah,
For those of you who haven't seen The Invitation, check that out. I think it's on Netflix. Fantastic.
yeah. So I want more of that and less of The Grudge 2020. You know,
Yeah.
God damn it.
Or the Ring second remake.
Ringu.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Once again.
The Ring second remake.
Even sequels can kind of get in the way of that, you know?
Mhm.
Like I didn't see the new Zombieland,
Mm.
which is going to be the next film we're going to talk about. But I felt like the first film was so different and original, and then the second one, I just didn't see anything that really interested me in the I don't know if you saw it, but we'll talk
No.
about that in a.
Yeah.
So,
The GOAT Podcast is proof you don't have to look any further for movie news, reviews, trailer reactions, or special discussions. Subscribe, get notified about what's going on, and I promise you'll be entertained by our daily content on YouTube. If you want more, we're on Twitter at GOAT Film Podcast, Instagram The GOAT Podcast, and the GOAT Movie Group on Facebook. Get connected with us, see what's happening, and make sure to love it while you're doing so.